Hello there, my dear loving souls. Welcome back to this channel and to this office where we talk together about universal laws and all the good stuff about practicing love. Now, you're very welcome to the topic today on having faith in the universe. That's right, having faith in the universe. As always, part one will be all about a little bit more facts to give you an indication as to why I was inspired to discuss this topic, as well as some universal laws that are at play in my point of view. Part two will be all about the application of those laws and some practical tips as to, what can we do? What is this all about having faith in the universe, and how can perhaps we have more faith in the universe and practice that, in our daily lives. And part three, as always, we'll be getting some messages from the spirit world using the oracle decks or the tarot decks here on my desk today. That's always an exciting part. Now, without further ado, feel free to grab a glass of water or a cup of tea or coffee or the beverage of your choice. And let's kick into the video series on having faith in the universe. So, why was I inspired to talk about this particular topic? And there's one thing that comes to mind, and a very strong thing that comes to mind, and that is that we stand alone, and as a result of that, we have to have faith in something, and that something is ideally the universe as a whole. Now, what I mean by standing alone, what do I really mean when I say that? Well, in my point of view, is that when we are born into this lifetime on planet Earth, it is true that sometimes, most of the time, you're just the one baby that's born. Sometimes you can come in as a pair, like twins, right, or triplets and whatnot, but it's more common to be just the one body. And ultimately, at the expiry of the lifetime situation, right, it's most likely that you will pass and cross to the spirit world by yourself. Or I acknowledge the fact, of course, that accidents happen, natural disasters happen, other things happen. That means that, spirits cross the veil on a mass scale. So a variety of options that can happen. But ultimately, entry, exit, and ultimately the journey is all about your own unique experience in this lifetime. And the reason for it is because we are spirits, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and each spirit is actually a unique expression. There's something unique about you, like in terms of our makeup, in terms of our energy field, or our own unique energetic makeup that makes us unique. And hence why I think we do actually stand alone. We have, life experiences on planet Earth, as an example. If we go through each life experience, adding more to our own energetic makeup for our soul and our spirit. And even though, of course, we get to share this lifetime with many other people, family, friends, colleagues, so many individuals, human beings, pets, animals, other living creatures, plants, that you engage with. Ultimately, it's all actually about you individualistic self. It's about your unique soul and your journey. And that's why I think you may have also heard of other people saying that, especially those who have experienced near-death experiences, right, is that there's some kind of review happens of their own life. And in fact, it's you as the soul yourself reviewing your own lifetime and, effectively saying, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What lessons were learned, how do they compare to the mission that you have set out to achieve before you were born and whatnot. And so, if we stand alone, and hopefully you understand what I mean by standing alone, is that unique expression ultimately at its core. It's very important to have faith in the universe, because otherwise it might feel like a very lonely place. If you truly believe that you only are alone all the time, and it's the only thing that is true for you, then it can actually feel, you might, you stand alone, but you actually feel lonely. But I think it's important to stand alone, but yet not feel lonely if you have faith in the universe. And that's something that I have been a big observer of in my life anyway, is that despite all the variety of things that happen in one's life, it is ultimately, my faith into the universe, and we'll talk about what that is, that has assisted me to stand alone through the variety of life experiences, but yet not to feel lonely in that journey or through those, moments in my life. Now, the universal laws that come to mind, the first one being is I need to, I think, unpack a little bit in terms of what I mean by the universe, and that in fact, it's, ultimately everything can be broken down to energy, and the universe is like this effectively a massive energy field that is made up of the physical reality that we're in right now, as well as the spirit world, and many other realms that are non-physical, if you will. So it's just gigantic universal universe, which is an energy field, and each one of us, spirits, that's what I'm referring to, for the software that makes us us, we are the unique expression of that energy, and we make up that energy field. But this is an interesting bit that I always talk about, is that ultimately we make up that energy field, as many other things do as well, and as a result of that, we actually holistically all make up the energy field, and as a result of that, we are all connected. There's one web of connections that every single matter, every single bit of energy resides in. So despite me saying standing alone, being your unique self, at the same time, simultaneously, we're connected to the energy field, i.e. the universe, at the same time. So it makes sense, I think anyway, to have faith in the universe, because it's sort of like having faith in yourself at the same time, because you make up a unique expression, that unique energetic code of the whole lot that makes up the full energetic field. And as I mentioned before, is that you might stand alone, you have your own life experiences and, sensations, thoughts, feelings, challenges, whatnot. But ultimately, if you have faith in the universe and inherently yourself and everything that you're connected to, you would not feel lonely. The second universal law I want to talk about is the alignment with your, pre-birth plan, your blueprint. What I mean by that is some kind of, I believe it's like a dynamic plan that every soul has created for themselves, along with their spirit guides and advisors, some wisdom, wise souls out there, before they come and incarnate into planet Earth for the particular lifetime. And that I do believe we set out a variety of bits and bobs, big milestones, as well as, key missions or lessons that we want to go through, challenges we want to experience in order to learn from, develop, or ultimately simply experience. And the reason I want to talk about that is because as we move through our lifetime, it's kind of like focusing on a particular snapshot at a time, or a particular frame at a time, and we can sometimes get a little bit too focused on that and not see the bigger picture, which is the lifetime plan, or the dynamic plan, the blueprint that your own soul has created for you. And if you believe in, if you have faith in the universe and the energetic field which is made up of you, as well as the plan that you have created for yourself, then you're more likely to, I feel, be more attuned or aligned with your lifetime plan if you have that faith in the universe, in yourself, and everything that surrounds you, and that everything is connected, and that means that no matter what snapshot or what screenshot frame comes into your life next, you still can see what's going on, but also see the bigger picture. And hopefully that makes sense. And the third I want to talk about is the freedom of choice, and the fact that you're ultimately an active participant in your own life. The thing I want to mention here is that I certainly have had that feeling or sensation in my own life, and maybe this is like a little thing that everyone goes through, or human being go through, that if you do believe in your dynamic, pre-birth plan, you might feel like you're just a puppet, as in the life is just unfolding for you. If there is a plan, milestone after milestone, and because there is this pre-birth plan that you've come up with, that means that you might feel like, or you might perceive as if you're not really in control of your life, that life happens for you. Clearly you might not have any particular stewardship role within your own lifetime if everything is apparently according to the plan. And this was an interesting lesson in my life, because I actually think we forget about the freedom of choice sometimes, and that we fall sometimes into this, victim mentality, or that we're puppets. Everything happens without us being the main character in our own life. And I don't think that's true, because actually every single day, every single circumstance that presents you in front of you, you have a freedom of choice to think something, speak something, or do something, or not. And that spans across the full spectrum, which I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. A variety of things can occur, right, in our lifetime. And we all make a variety of choices, right, as we go through our own day-to-day life, and about the small things, the middle range things, as well as the bigger things. So ultimately, what I'm trying to get at is, even though we come up with a predetermined plan or predetermined set of milestones we want to achieve, or experiences we wish to have, I do believe it's a dynamic plan that morphs and changes simultaneously with sort of every single choice that you make, especially on the bigger things. As an example, when you're a kid, you know what kind of education you receive. Do you go and have, what kind of work experiences do you have? Where do you leave to get your first job, or where do you live in terms of the location geographically? What kind of people you associate yourself with? Who are your partners? Who do you choose or not to choose, or don't choose to have children with? All these bigger things, which do feel quite like heavy decisions, or decisions that have a lot of magnitude behind them. Those are, in my world, are kind of big milestones, but I don't deny the fact that, look, even smaller things could potentially be milestones in one's plan as well. So what I'm trying to say is that the plan is always dynamic, but you still ought to be an active participant in your own life. And how do you go through the good, the bad, and the ugly? Well, having faith in the universe, and knowing that you might be experiencing the life, in your unique way, through your own pair of glasses or your own eyes. But ultimately, you're never actually alone as you walk through this. And in fact, you're constantly connected with yourself, your own spirit, your own higher self, the wider energy field that makes up the universe, be that the physical world that we're living in, literally everything around you, as well as the spirit world, or the one that we can't see physically with these eyes by design. Now, and the last thing I want to mention before we jump into part 2, which is the application part, is that I've mentioned this many times, is that energy can't be created nor destroyed, but it does transform. It has the ability to transform from one state to another, and that's beautiful, because that's what creates the flow of things. Now, the big flow, or big universal law that I've observed, is the energy of giving and receiving, and the transformation of giving and receiving. And I think this is very important for having faith in the universe, to understand that as your unique little spark, you can see, your unique self, your unique soul, as a spark, light, love, whatever you want to see it as, whatever jargon you want to use. You have the ability to give to the energy field that you are a part of, as well as receive from the energy field that you are a part of. And the more we give and receive, the more likely there's going to be balance and harmony for your unique individual self, as well as for the collective. And the more love, and hence why I mentioned the more love we practice, I feel like that's us giving, that's us expressing our own unique self, to give something of us, i.e. practice love, think love, speak love, do love to ourself, our unique self, as well as the rest of the energy field, the more likely, in order to maintain balance, the universe or the energy field will provide that kind of energy back to you. So you will then be on the receiving end of that love. And it might not be like a one-to-one relationship. And what I mean, it might not be exactly the same thing as, by way of an example, I go and grab a glass of water for my partner too because he's thirsty, you know, so I'm giving, I'm showing love and care for my partner. It's not that same day or that same moment or that same next day, whatever, I'm going to receive a glass of water back from my partner. I don't mean it's in that it's not like a one-to-one give and receive of exactly the same thing. What I really mean is when I show a little bit of love, a bit of a gesture, a nice kind act, or a thought, a prayer towards somebody, or nice words, like compliment somebody or say thank you or show my gratitude, then I am very likely to receive love back, perhaps in a different shape and form as well, but I will be receiving it, like that good, feel good stuff. As an example, a week passes and I might receive a nice bouquet of flowers, or say a chocolate block from my partner, or something else, going back to the example that I gave. Or it could be bigger than that, you never know. And what I mean is that it's not a one-to-one relationship as well between, just because you do something small, considered small in terms of love, you will only receive something small in terms of love. I genuinely think that there's magic to our life, and there's certainly magic in the power of love, that sometimes even the smallest of things can come back in greater ways back towards you in terms of what love feels, that emotional fulfillment. I don't just mean materialistic things, not physical things, but that emotional fulfillment and gratitude and the sensation of joy, peace and tranquility, which are, perhaps just as important as having that flashy car or a big mansion somewhere. You might have a great mansion and great cars, but actually feel very distressed and unwell. True? I think so. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back into this discussion of application, part 2. Click on the link down below, my darling loving souls, and we'll talk more about the application of these universal laws and some practical tips on the topic of having faith in the universe. Click on the link down below and I'll see you shortly.